This is the TNA Wrestling January 9th, 2025 full show results video. The show started with a match between Eric Young, Jonathan Gresham, and Steve Macklin versus The System. Gresham and Eddie started the match. Young's team stomped Eddie. The System got the advantage on Young, then Macklin and JDC tagged in and brawled. Steve Macklin ran wild on everyone and gave JDC a Kia DDT to get the pin. After the match, The System attacked the winners with steel chairs. The System placed a steel chair on Gresham's head and runs him into a steel post on the outside of the ring. Young and Macklin retaliate with chairs to run off The System, but the damage was already done. Savannah Evans came out for a match and Zaya Brookside came to the stage. She complained that Evans had injured her and she brought out Lei Ying Lee to face Evans. Then we saw a match between Lei Ying Lee versus Savannah Evans. They brawled at the start and quickly went to the floor, with Lee getting the best of the exchange. They got back in the ring and traded the advantage. Evans stretched Lee's neck, but Lee fought back. They traded strikes and Lee gave Evans a spinning kick and won the match by pinfall. Jordynne Grace is backstage with Gia Miller and Grace says if Tessa Blanchard wants to fight her, meet her tonight in the middle of the ring. A video package plays recapping the rivalry between Rosemary and TNA Knockouts champion Masha Slamovich. Then we saw Mike Santana competes in the Northern Armory gauntlet match. Santana faced Judas Icarus first. Icarus attacked Santana from behind at the bell, but Santana recovered and pinned Icarus after delivering a clothesline. Santana faced Travis Williams next and Williams had the upper hand. Santana recovered and pinned Williams and Josh Alexander slowly walked to the ring. All three members of the Northern Armory attacked Santana and Alexander gave Santana a C4 spike and the match ended in a no contest. Alexander taunted Santana and said he'd never be the guy, and fans chanted "You look stupid," presumably at Alexander. The concierge said that he would do something unprecedented next week. He said that Heather and Ash by Elegance would soon be the tag team champions and they would have a pre-launch championship celebration next week. Rosemary is backstage talking about Masha Slamovich and the things she wants to do to her. Raven comes in and questions if Rosemary is ready for Slamovich since she hasn't held the Knockouts title in a long time. Rosemary puts a knife to Raven's throat and he suggests she challenge Masha to a Clockwork Orange match, and Rosemary seemed to like this idea. The next match happened between the Rascals versus the Good Hands. Wentz and Hotch started the match and the Rascals used teamwork to get the upper hand. Skylar interfered from the outside to turn the tide and Trey made the hot tag and ran wild on Hotch. All four wrestlers fought in the ring and Hotch splashed Wentz for a near fall. In the end, the Rascals made a comeback and Trey pinned Skylar after Wentz gave Skylar a double stomp from the ropes. Rhino is backstage working out, preparing for his match later. Frankie Kazarian comes in and tells him if he hits the gore on Nick Nemeth tonight he might call his shot later tonight, and Rhino looks less than thrilled with that idea. Steve Macklin and Eric Young are backstage and Macklin says the System tried to end Jonathan Gresham's career tonight and says their message has been received loud and clear. Eric Young says this is above the law and they are going to hand out their own kind of justice and says this is a declaration of war. Top Class come on and AJ Francis makes fun of them for being upset. After a heated exchange, the four men agree to a tag match that will likely take place on next week's show pending Santino Marella's approval. TNA X Division champion Moose and Alicia Edwards come to the ring. Moose announces that at Genesis he will debut a new X Division championship that's worthy of him. Alicia throws the old X Division title out of the ring and Moose buries it by saying how ugly it is. Former TNA Wrestling star Andrew Everett hits the ring and buries what Moose just did with the X Division title and puts over the importance of the championship and the division. Moose claims he doesn't remember who he is and tells him to get out of the ring. Everett says he's an X Division wrestler and Moose is not, and Moose responds by big booting him in the head and gives him an impromptu title shot right now. Then we saw a match between Moose versus Andrew Everett for the TNA X Division Championship, and the result of this match was Moose defeated Andrew Everett by pinfall after hitting the last ride powerbomb to retain the title. Moose's challenger Ace Austin at Genesis watching all this from backstage. Santino Marella is backstage on his cell phone and Sami Callihan comes in and says he and PCO feel shafted that the Rascals are getting a shot at the Hardys over them. Callihan says whoever wins, they got next, and Marella instead proposes a match between them and the Hardys in a non-title match, and if they win they get added to the match at Genesis, and Callihan agrees. Jordynne Grace is in the ring and Grace says if Tessa Blanchard believes the Knockouts division is hers, she's gonna have to go through her. Tessa Blanchard hits the ring and the two women brawl until they are separated by security. Santino Marella comes, and he booked a match between Jordynne Grace and Tessa Blanchard at Genesis pay-per-view, and again they starts talking trash to each other. In the main event of the show, we saw a match between Joe Hendry and Rhino versus Ryan and Nick Nemeth. In the end, Rhino gave Ryan a spear, Nick superkicked Rhino and Hendry threw Nick out of the ring. The finish of the match saw Joe Hendry hit Ryan Nemeth with a standing ovation to score the pinfall victory. Joe Hendry and Nick Nemeth have a stare down as TNA Impact goes off the air.